Committee, which is the Economic Development, Land Use, and Housing Zoning Committee. Today is Monday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Monday, December 15th, it's 6 p.m. Call the meeting to order. I already introduced myself. I'm gonna go around the table, beginning with the board members, and please introduce yourselves, and then we'll go around and make sure everyone, for the record, describes where they work or who they're representing and their name.
Hello, I'm Argelia Ortiz. I am a board member.
Good evening, Diana Leonard. I'm the Bronx Community, the Community Associate for the Bronx Community Board 1. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Clarissa Oakley. I'm a member of the community.
Jared Munjan, member of community.
Ma'am?
Alexa Gonzalez, member of the community.
Marcos Herrera, we're La Morada Restaurant.
Natalia Méndez, trabajo en La Morada Restaurant. Yajaira Saavedra from La Morada.
Thank you. We won't be able to establish quorum at this time. We're missing some members of the committee. But what we're gonna do is still, because you took the time out to come the second time, we're gonna listen to the presentation again. And then we're gonna meet as an executive committee. I'm gonna bring it up before the chair. At the executive committee meeting, I'll make a presentation or I'll do my report to the executive committee meeting and we'll take up the action there, okay? At this time, I'm going to alter the agenda because the first presenter is not here and time consuming and we want to give everyone the opportunity. You're going to begin first and do your presentation, okay?
Thank you so
You have the
much.
floor, thank you. And I think Mr. Jordan is printing out the presentation for us, so, but you can start, go ahead. Because you've already met before.
Can I click here?
Sure.
Okay.
I think it's
Before I start, I did mail the copy of the application form for the grant. The application starts in page 12. For the NYCDC grant. Hi, my name is Yajaira Saavedra and I'm part of La Morada Corporation. Right now we have a half-time restaurant at 308 Willis. Well, the space serves as a restaurant / mutual aid space. And here is our upcoming project. Here's our agenda. I'm gonna start off with where we are now. La Morada is an immigrant family-owned restaurant and community space located in the South Bronx, about I would say 20-minute walk from here. We are probably the most awarded restaurant or small business in the Bronx. These are some of our awards and mentions. We have been published in every major media newspaper in English and in Spanish for our work, our advocacy work in immigration, as well as our soup kitchen, and of course our award-winning meals. We are Oaxaca based and is indigenous from Oaxaca, Mexico, and it has been recognized worldwide.
Hello.
So the meeting started, please.
Hello.
Meeting started.
Go ahead, continue.
Our mutual aid space, known as La Morada Mutual Aid Kitchen, has been around since the beginning of the pandemic. Now it's almost 6 years. We have done a lot of cultural events, some as big as 2,000 people. Of course, we're not gonna be able to fit everybody at La Morada, which is at 50 people max capacity. And that's like everybody standing.
Let me pause you for a second. The last time you were here, you made this very same presentation. We asked you to,
Yes,
okay, so in the interest of time,
I will.
because we have all that information, we were really interested in knowing, the answers to the questions regarding.
Yep.
Right, so can you just skip and go forward to that part?
Yeah.
Because we, not trying to.
I understand and I
Yes,
really
we
appreciate.
we want to get to.
Oh, yeah. So here's a list of the partnerships we are currently collaborating with. This is just a very condensed list.
Okay,
And it has the universities, the community spaces, the green spaces, and that is part of the application. And we want to continue working with these, nonprofits and, institutions and increase our capacity of how many programs we could, have with them. Right now in our current space, we always have to kind of figure out who we're gonna host or what we're gonna do due to the space constriction. And again, this is very important for the reasons why we're applying for the grant, because we have our space. Our grand opening should be around, it's estimated to be winter 2026. We will be open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And this is the address, which is about like a 5-minute walk from our current location. The information about, I'm not sure what I did. Okay. So the building will be divided into 3 floors, where the ground floor is gonna be a restaurant and cafe. The second floor will be an art space, art gallery, and a rooftop garden, and then the last floor will be an office space. Our team is divided into myself, our project manager will be Elise, or is Elise. Andrew Lyon is our principal architect, and then the rest are his team. We have been working with them for 2 years to finalize the architectural design. Right now, we are in the construction phase. Just this week, we started with demolition. So we expect less than 40 weeks of construction. So therefore, that leaves us to maybe fall, winter of 2026 for us to be open and able to start serving our customers. Here's the meat of the presentation. Our estimated cost is a little bit over $11 million, where 31% of this cost will go to hiring 95 employees in 2 years. The total estimate of the overhead cost is 15% of this budget, and 35% of this budget will go into capital improvements. What we have fundraised is $3.5 million, and the additional funds that we need is a little bit over $7 million, and that's what we are applying for. The building acquisition was 1.9 million. The capital improvement expense is estimated at 3.8, a little bit over 3.8 million, and the operational expense is over 5.2 million. The operational expense is probably just like went really high because most of it is going towards, again, hiring 95 employees. And depending on whether we get that amount of money, the grant, we might not be able to immediately hire the amount of people that we need in order to grow our company. Our revenues are as follows. The first year, we expect or estimate for the restaurant and cafe to make about 1.6 million. The caterings will be $494,000. The online about 200,000. The space rental 65, and the products 130. I want to bring your attention to the catering. Right now, I'm doing 494, but we expect at least 150% growth to 1,007,029. And the reason behind that, with over 150% growth, is because we want to do caterings to like shelters and schools. And in order for us to apply for that bid, it takes about a year in order to process all that paperwork. So by year 2, we should be formal enough to have all the documents ready to go in order to be able to provide that bid. The first year is also a very low estimate since our fiscal year won't start until end of winter, so that doesn't give us a whole year per se. The online orders is a big jump for our business. It shows a increased capacity or a growing capacity for our business, since right now we don't have online orders. So that only limits us to people who travel to the South Bronx or people who live around the South Bronx. So with the online orders being Uber, Grubhub, and all the others, we are definitely going to expand really fast. And again, that's just an intro amount of what we expect in the first fiscal year. The space rental, since we have such a big space, we can now cater into the new markets, such as renting for space, whether it be a birthday, whether it be an office party or a graduation party. With products, we want to start selling our products and hopefully in the near future in like places in supermarkets, right, to make a whole line of like moles, a whole line of sauces. And because we are now going to have enough equipment and space in order for us to start producing our own products, we will be able to hit that market as well. So that is what I have. As I was explaining, the online ordering will be expanding, the catering to offices and the restaurants. Well, La Morada has already a big footprint in New York City, it being like a destination spot for foodies because of our reputable service and food. Our success and KPIs, of course, our center is always going to be our happy employees. We don't consider our employees, we don't call them employers, they're family. We call them Yanis, which translate to brother and mixteco. And our success depends heavily on there. The KPI, first one will be the job creation. We want to make sure to hit the 95 employees goal by the end of fiscal year 2. The turnover rate for restaurants is always high, meaning that a lot of the employers quit restaurants really fast. But with La Morada, we have a really high retention rate, and we want to make sure that we still have that turnover rate very low, because that proves that we're doing something different in the restaurant industry, and we always want to lead by example. And of course, the regular servers benchmark how much the employees are able to produce, and the number of applicants we get to want to work in La Morada due to word of mouth of like how we treat our servers, our employees, or our Yanis. The second measure in success will be the happy customers. We want to make sure to always keep track of the satisfaction score of our food. We're going to be checking on those search engines like Google to see what are the rankings in Yelp and Google and such, and also in social media. And of course, our ROI as part of how much marketing money we spent and how much of these customers were able to attract, not only to La Morada, but to the South Bronx. Again, this is going to be it's already a hotspot for tourism, but now we're going to be able to have the marketing and the capacity and space in order to bring more people to participate in the South Bronx community. A big part of who we are is the social responsibility. Activism is the core element of La Morada and will remain so with this new project. We are using a KPI. We are going to keep track of how many community events we make and how much carbon footprint our restaurant also creates. We want to do carbon sequestration with our rooftop garden, and most of our building materials are going to be also eco-friendly, hence the reasons why the capital improvement cost is a little bit high. Same way that organic food is a little extra, unfortunately, environmentally friendly construction materials is also high. But we want to implement that. A big part of like what we're experimenting right now is like with hemp insulation, which is like fireproof friendly. So like we've seen a lot of fires going on in the Bronx, and we've taken that into consideration as to how we can make sure to implement climate change also into our new building. For profits, we're also using a KPI to keep track of the sales, the gross profits, the historical sales, and the profit margins. That is all I have, and the next steps, if you help us fundraise in any capacity, we truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Julia, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. All I have to say is that on a commentary level, I've been to La Morada, and this is just amazing. And I think we are willing to support this, and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
It's only board members. I have a few questions because the presentation was basically the same thing, you just added some things.
Yes,
But we requested, I remember specifically saying, you mentioned there was an asbestos problem there.
yes,
And you didn't mention anything about it, and we asked you to bring the report from the asbestos abatement. And you just mentioned that you already started doing demolition.
yes.
So what type of remediation is the contractor taking
Yes,
to remediate any of those pollutants going out into the community? If there's a school next door, if there's a building next door. So that was supposed to be part of the presentation that you were supposed to be making.
yeah, I do apologize for not bringing that document, but yes, there has been asbestos remediation going on this week, and that was actually the first part of the asbestos. I do have I do have the paperwork to show all the process that we have taken. I'm more than happy to send it and print it out to you guys.
Right. So before I can bring this up before the executive committee, that was one of the sticking points. That's a very serious request.
Okay.
I need you to immediately send that paperwork to the district manager so that I can have that before I make my presentation on Thursday. Otherwise, I will not risk, making a decision or asking my members to make a decision based on hearsay. I need to see and show,
Yeah.
look, that's a very serious
Yeah,
thing, okay? Other than that, I thank you for the presentation. This is, we would just, but wait, the district manager, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so building on what the chairman said, because of of this community board's pledge of ensuring environmental justice, the environmental impact statement for any of our construction projects is the premier key to walking a project in, just so we make sure that we environmentally are ensuring that our community that has so many instances, you understand that already?
yes,
We want to make sure that the environment is something that is always upfront, besides the other statements that your organization has a history in working on. And if I had the leverage, I would have a couple other questions relating to the presentation. So, number two, I noticed that is in New York City EDC is not the not BX EDC that you're presenting your RFEI to, correct?
yes.
So can you briefly walk us through the I see the letter of your letter of interest, and as we walk through the premier part of it, as I understand, is not only providing essential services and resources, but providing compelling wage jobs. Is that correct? Is that give me what are the top three with this funding that you hope to accomplish besides remediating this or rehabbing this beautiful historic property to provide so much more of a different level of what you guys are already providing historically in the community. And I also have had the chance to visit this place. I grew up in the neighborhood, so I know this organization, I know the store very well. walk me through what is the main part you hope to accomplish under the EDC RFE?
Sure. So just as this graph, request or that shows, 31.74% will definitely go into hiring 95 employees if we get the grant. So that is like a huge chunk of the of the grant itself. The other chunk will be the 35% on the capital improvements, minus building acquisition. We already have purchased the building at 1.9, so the 35 will go into making building fixtures. The fixtures will include like a joist replacement, a roof replacement, rooftop garden, which will help with carbon sequestration. And we also have to completely gut the place, remove the, there is a underground tank, which is also an environmental hazard that we have applied for permits to be, for that removed, and the whole MEP, mechanics, engineering, plumbing, electricity is all gonna be replaced. Another environmental factor that we're taking into consideration is replacing or installing HVAC systems. HVAC will help us not only with, air and temperature control, but also just like in, just air filtration. And I think that is very important, especially during the summer when we do have high levels of asthma and whatnot. So we want to provide that safe space for the community. Then there's the eco-friendly materials that we want to use, such as the, I was mentioning the hemp insulation, which will help with just fire prevention, a way to fire prevent, and also being eco-friendly. A big chunk of that will also go into buying machinery for the kitchen, such as stoves and just the usual.
So it's
Yeah.
mostly, so the large one, I want to cut you off because I let the chairman's giving them any time, absence of a quorum,
Yeah.
is that, so the business now
Yes.
is 100% family owned, correct? This is out of the restaurant.
Yes.
I saw that the acquisition of this property leads you into a multi-faceted partners in this
Yes.
business. How much of the leverage, how much has the family business leveraged the financing now up to date, depending on this loan,
Yeah.
for the purchasing of the property?
Yeah, so we have leveraged $1.6 million, and we have a loan of 1.9, which is now under Golden Child.
Right. And so, and this, and has the ownership, the multi, partners, is it LLC that you created that owns the property, or is it this, how is the property owned now?
Yeah, so we are all working under Golden Child LLC.
Right,
That's the property right now, but the project name is Morada por Indígenas Unidos. We do have a nonprofit physical sponsor, which is named Word Up Bookstore. It's a well-recognized bookstore in Washington Heights, and that is what we're using for fundraising. However, when we start our moving into the building, we are going to use La Morada restaurant.
as the face of the
Yes.
of the business, because that's where people are familiar with that as a marketing tool to be drawn to
Yes.
the services, the food, the product, the core of your work that has been going on for so many years.
Correct.
My last question is, what is the interest rate that under this project or does this evolve into something else over a period of time? Or so that's when I say interest rate, over how long is the loan and what is the interest rate? And because I see that you did you talked about the financials and how leveragedly you're going to make the funding you need to be able to sustain the level, given the clientele stays the same, given no unforeseen situation.
Yeah.
What is the livelihood of this loan and the interest rates and that you?
Sure. So for the interest rate for the acquisition of the building, it's at 0%.
I'm sorry, one more
It's
time?
at 0%. So it's a personal loan.
Okay.
And we are,
Wait, it's a what loan?
it's a personal loan.
Personal loan?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, like from, like friend.
Okay.
Like it was at 1.9.
All right. And it's only existing for this part of the business,
Yes.
for the acquisition and the startup money, seed money for this particular project.
Correct.
Again, contingent on this loan, okay?
Yes.
And
0%.
0%. And then what about, what's the interest rate on the loan for the EDC money? If it's this money, have you evaluated what that costs?
The interest loan for the EDC money
Yes.
is, I am applying for a grant, so from my understanding,
So it's a grant, this is
it's not a loan.
it's a grant, so this is not, this starts as a loan first to make sure that you are having a great plan, and then it turns into a grant over a period of time. That's my understanding, but but we can talk more about this when you submit the other information. And the nonprofit sponsors are all, none of them right now are local. You said one is in Washington Heights, Samarada is you.
And then we have New Savi, which is going to be our non-for-profit. So La Mutual Aid Kitchen has now evolved to New Savi NYC Inc. And we are just waiting for the physical, for the 501c3 tax status. And while we wait, we are hoping to, we are continuing using Word of Bookstore because that's who we have as partner of for like over 5 years already with the Mutual Aid Kitchen.
My last question is your deadline to be, but you said that the reason why you decided to bring you back was the deadline was approaching, and the chair gave leverage for you to return back sooner so that you can meet your deadline for
Yes.
applying for this. Is that correct?
Yes, the deadline for this this grant or this proposal is on December 31st. And I would like to submit it as soon as, I guess.
The board.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I just have a few more questions. Regarding your space rental, what is the square footage or what is the seating capacity for the space rental that you plan on opening?
Okay, so for the space rental, we have various places where it could be rented. Right now, the building is at 4,000 square feet, I think.
What's the seating capacity in that particular rental? Just that
And the
particular-
well, it has different seating capacities. For mine, right now in the kitchen, we have 35 chairs, so 35. And then we have the rooftop, which is about 20, and then the art gallery, which is about like 20 more. So
Okay.
there's different.
And in your restaurant, will there be any alcohol being served?
We are considering having mezcal, which is our
Having what?
traditional mezcal, which is our traditional drink.
So before you do that, you have to come before the
Yes.
permits committee here also, right?
Yes, you'll be
And
there.
do the same, well, not the same presentation, but do
Condense.
the SLA thing and then they'll deal with that in another section, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what the cost for the rental spaces are gonna be? And I need to know also, how late will you be open? Not the restaurant, but the space rental.
The space rental, we are considering opening or like having both the space rental as well as the restaurant running at the same time. And that's hence the reason why we are trying to have the same 95 employees, which will encompass not only like the restaurant, but also catering and the not-for-profit. So-
The reason for my question is if you're gonna rent the space for, let's say, a birthday party, how late do you plan on giving the patron to have their party?
I think that depends on the patron, but we usually don't, we had this weird case in which like we had to cater somebody, a church, and they wanted breakfast at 5 a.m. So like, it's very versatile. But usually our caterings don't go past 10, the event space usually don't go past 10 at the latest, unless there is like a religious, Catholic ceremony during, the equinox.
Thank you. Now, Julia, do you have anything?
Yeah, again, what would be the cost?
The
Can you
cost
be kind of specific for rental?
for rentals,
Yes,
Or more or less?
more or less,
like,
give
me an approximation.
I would say it depends, by hour, I would say maybe,
Well, I would also say, I think we're going to continue the way we are, which is kind of sliding scale, right? If you're a communal-based organization, then clearly we're gonna charge less. And if somebody has more to support, the initiatives that are going throughout the building, we could charge them at a higher price.
Give us a
Right.
number.
Give me an approximation.
So like,
Okay.
right, for example, let's say it's a school around the corner, right? Now, I don't see why we should charge them more than $100 an hour. 'Cause think about a school board budget, it's not that grand,
Okay.
right? But think about someone that will wanna do like a 315, right? Them, we could charge up to like $500 an hour or even more, because they do have, financial stability to be able to support that. Now, again, it would go back to the financial stability of the organization or of the person.
Thank you. And your name?
Carolina.
And what's your relationship to the presenter?
So I run the community engagement, things that happen throughout La Morada. I am also the youngest sister of the three.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, so thank you. The most important thing is get me or get the district manager the information regarding the asbestos abatement, the report.
Yeah.
And then if I have this, tomorrow's Tuesday, we have an executive committee meeting on Thursday. I only have one member here, but her and I will have a discussion after the meeting. And then we'll make a recommendation to the executive board and the district manager will reach out to you, okay? Thank you for coming.
Thank you so
Good luck.
much.
Yes,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck on your work ahead. I know that again, Mr. Chairman, success of the restaurant part. And I know that you have vision, and we want to deal with our fiduciary responsibility to ensure that that vision meets the threshold to ensure that we are properly lending the name of the board to the work that you want to see ahead, because it means a lot to ensure that the community has the best intentions going forward. I know you guys do. We hope to see that best intentions come true. But it's up to the board to make the entire board to make their decision. Okay, and so you're welcome to come to our full board meeting. Diana has our team has some information when that meeting will take place. To be able, it'll be happening this time here in the board office. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you for
Have a good
coming.
night.
Thank you.
My mom just wanted to leave some recipe books that she brought from the restaurant for the board, so just amend, as an addendum to the.
Well, thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Gracias por su tiempo.
Okay.
Si Dios quiere.
Gracias por venir.
Good seeing you.
Okay, it's good to see you too. Thank you for coming.
There's a woman chamber of commerce in the room. The chairman has suggested that because we had you up first, but the meeting already started, so he has to make a decision whether he's going to call you for the meeting started. Yeah. So we have a short recess.
Yes, let me give you more info, okay?
Yes, she does. Diana,
Yes.
you're looking for a business card, please.
Just so that she can send us follow-up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Are you?
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Back to work. Okay,
I'll be right back.
you want to give it 2 minutes?
It's up to you.
I'll give it 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes. Can we have the next presentation? Yeah, PowerPoint presentation or handout to give out? Okay. This way, she goes to the bathroom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias.
phone.
This one, this one,
I yeah.
that you do.
Let's say it's bring, man, it's fucking nightmare.
Off and on, you can't get it.
Well, it has a lot of features. I just want a phone to ring.
Right.
If you pick it up and send an email. Exactly.
Is your, are you coming?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So we're back. Do we have here Ms. Kenya Abreu, President of the Women's Chamber of Commerce?
Yes.
Just for the record, we don't have quorum, but the committee is going to hear your presentation. And we're going to have an executive committee meeting on Wednesday,
Okay.
at which time at the end of this meeting, I'll speak with Ms. Argelia, the only other member that's here. And we'll make a recommendation we'll talk about your proposal, and at that point, we'll make a recommendation to the executive committee, and we'll go from there, and the district manager will reach out to you. You're also more than welcome to come on Thursday, which is the full board meeting. Now, for the record, please state your name, and all the team that's with you. Also speak loud because we're being recorded and it's live, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can do whatever you want, except there's no smoking or drinking in here.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you. My name is Kenya Abreu. I am the president of the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here with my team, Evelyn Sosa and Herbasia, who also works for the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce. And we are a women's economic empowerment organization. In essence, we're a little bit different than most chambers. We do promote our businesses, we do a lot of advocacy, but we act more as a women's economic empowerment, helping women start a business, helping women become self-employed so that they can become economically independent. So that's our main focus. We work with women of all ethnicity, but we have tremendous focus on Black and Latino women, understanding that there is a need to provide programs and services to help them just become economically sufficient. We have an office here in the Bronx Incubator at 2929 3rd Avenue. BAC, the Business Outreach Center Network, our partner, has been a partner for a long time. We also have an office in Manhattan, but we provide our services throughout New York City. So I'm here to request your, to tell you about the program that we're running here in the Bronx, but also to request support for a partnership agreement. The Startup Bronx, or Emprende Bronx, as we call it, it's a program that we're doing with support from DYCD to economically empower. It's an economically empowerment program, and of course dedicated more to women, but it's open to everyone. And the program provides training, provides one-on-one technical assistance to those that want to start a business or are in business and want to grow and scale their business. We're running the program out of the BAC office, BAC Incubator, 2929 3rd Avenue, but we're seeking the support. The DYCD requires us to have partners, and they have to be local partners. So we have BAC as a partner, we have Catholic Charities as a partner with Paola, and then we're asking for a partnership also with CB1. And what the partnership really is, I know the letter might say funding, but there's no funding involved because we're already getting the funding from DYCD. It's just a partnership to help us promote the program, to do outreach, to give out the flyers in their space, and to also provide space. Sometimes we need the space for meetings, for some other workshops, just to convene the businesses in the area. So that's really the partnership that we're looking for.
That's your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, no, that's fine.
That's
Judy,
it.
you have any questions?
Well, yes, my question is, this is particularly geared towards women. Is there a particular income that might be required, or for that matter, a limitation as to qualify for this program?
Yes. If they live in the area, there is no income level limitation. If they're outside, then they have to show that there is an income level limit. But we, understanding the need, we're focusing primarily on women that are economically disadvantaged. So
Okay,
that's really our main focus, because that's what we want to work with. That's why some of the programs that we have, like child care providers programs, where we're going to be teaching them how to become child care providers, also catering, how to create and even planning business. That's why I was so interested in the presentation that was done before. Also cleaning companies. And we are, just to let you know, so we are a partner of the City of New York when it comes to their MWBE certification program, which is very important. So we're looking also at the small businesses that are in the area that can qualify also to become MWB certified. So that way they can bid on contracts with the City of New York and their prime contractors. So for instance, if there's a cleaning company in the area that's a small company, we will help that cleaning company become MWB certified as a women or minority-owned company, and then we will help that company build their capacity to then be able to obtain a contract with the City of New York or with one of their prime contractors. We work with companies like printing companies that can provide services to the schools, for instances. Catering company that can provide services to the school. You have to become a vendor of the City of New York, and we can help the companies do that.
okay, but Mike, when you talk about live within the area,
Mhm.
what is the radius that you
CV1.
consider the? So they, okay, so they have to be within the
Yes,
CV1 district,
CV1.
okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And again, I'm trying to figure out what is considered economically disadvantaged. Give me like a little, an approximate level, or are you going by the standard that New York City
Well, they gave us, I believe they gave us, I don't know if you have it there, Evelyn, the form.
Less than 50, but we have different programs. For example, if we get people more than 50, we can give them that program or maybe another of.
Yeah, we have different programs. For this particular income, what they gave us is an income level based on the size of their family. That's what so we'll have to provide that to you because it's actually a very long list. But they did say they're flexible as long as the person is here in CV1
Here for work.
or work here. Yeah. So for instance, if we have a small business here, we know that a small business might be above the income level, but they're here and they're providing employment here in CV1, so they can be flexible with that.
I see,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
But our focus is really
Let me
economically
ask you,
disadvantaged, and it's open to women and men. It's not just women.
They changed the title.
I was gonna ask about that.
No. The title of the organization is the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce, but Emprende Bronx or the Startup Bronx, it's open
That was
to.
gonna be one of my questions.
It's open
One,
to-
I don't know if
No, it
government
is.
funds.
No, they're
have to be
not.
open to everybody.
No, it's open
But
to.
it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's just a name, but it's open to everyone, and especially because, again, as I mentioned before, we are a partner of the City of New York to help women and minority business owners.
Yes,
So therefore, we're open.
thank you. Let me ask you, what are the hours of operation in Eureka Bay?
We're there from 9 to 5, but it's usually, I would say, more than that. So sometimes until 6, 7, because we do some workshops in the evening.
How many days a
too.
week?
Monday through Friday with some Saturdays.
Okay.
Saturdays by appointment, or sometimes we have workshops and seminars that are held on
Do
Saturdays.
you have a number of spaces that, like, for example, you're giving a class on how to pay the rent on time, example. You have a set number of seats available, and is it by appointment only, like that?
No, so this is what it is. So the program has two components. So it's the educational piece. So
Mhm.
for instance, we would do a business plan, let's say, and that might be 4 sessions, right? So 4 sessions until you complete the business plan, and that's usually we're looking for no more than 25 attendees, because to be able to then work with all of them. And then it has the one-on-one technical assistance components, because we're teaching you how to put together the business plan, but then you have to come in to show us what you have been working on, for us to give you a review, to review the business plan, to work with you, making sure that you understand and that you're covering all the parts, especially the financials, which is always tricky.
And let me ask you, when you do the paperwork for the client to get their MWBE, is there a cost?
No.
Okay, and you have a contract with DYCD? And how long is the contract for?
This particular ends in June. So we're hoping that they renew it again.
Okay, and how much is that amount?
That's $150 a year.
150,000, that's it?
That's it.
Well, is that what you requested, or that's the top?
No, that's what they awarded, because that was the amount for the RFP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Other than the 150, do you receive any other funding to complement that? Because I don't see how you do this without it.
I know. So we fundraise. We get
okay.
we get funding from other sources,
Uh-huh.
including some other city agencies.
Okay.
But we also fundraise a lot. So like we get some corporate sponsors and things like that. Foundation sometimes.
And out of all the people that come to request help, what seems to be the number one business that you always find is the number one? Is it childcare? Is it which one is it?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you. For women, I would say is beauty salons. It's the beauty industry, which is pretty big, both hair salons and nail salons. Then you have childcare providers. That's a big one, and we think it's going to grow a lot now also, because of the need and because of the new administration and all of that. And then we have restaurants. We have barbershops. But in terms of women, it tends to be, the beauty industry and then the childcare providers.
Thank you. Mr. Brennan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm gonna walk through some statistical information. My assumption, and I hate to assume, is this an NDA?
Yes, it is.
So the NDA,
The
so just
NDA.
for the audience, it is NDA and the DYCD. It is, there's an advisory board that DYCD breaks out that usually sets several standards, the district needs assessments that the city does to determine what are some of the catchment areas throughout the 5 boroughs, us having one, and our partners are having to. Usually coincides with the community boards, decide what are major issues that need to work on, and they usually are small opportunities for organizations like the Women's Chamber of Commerce to apply for to work. This one happens to be an emphasis on supporting entrepreneurship and small business development. And then they're adding a little more spice to it by adding access to other city programs and services, which are important. What is, as the chairman started to open the door, I'm gonna keep walking through the door he opened, what is the highest, what are the 3 top, you said, you talk about the industries, and all those industries are mostly led by women, right? The ones you talked about, so
Yes.
Beauty,
Childcare providers,
and so
restaurants.
on. And what are the usual budget size of those organizations? Because I want to lead to how much of those organizations that we support under this program provide job opportunities for to employ other women or men alike or whatever. How do they? I'm sure the chamber's job is to support the business where they're at. For conception,
we support them throughout,
and
exactly.
And as they grow.
Exactly, and that's why we do the MWBE, because we're hoping that at some point they're going to get there and they're going to be able to apply for the $1 million, contract with the city of New York.
Sure.
So, in the beauty industry, I would say it's less than 100,000.
Right.
Usually, the childcare providers is interesting because what we've seen is growing in that sector. So they can do, from 50,000 to 250,000, because now they can do multiple.
They can accept private. They can accept.
Yes, exactly.
ACS.
And they can accept. Yes,
Vouchers.
yes, very much so. And then the restaurant industry, it's a little bit higher. It can go up to like $300,000, but what we see is in terms of the beauty industry, they tend to be like a little, like stay at the same, more so than the restaurants and even the childcare providers, which is something that we're trying, to change.
And how are they developing a workforce? If it's robust, if it's very slow
No.
trickling, are they
No.
only self-employed and then
They tend to. So with the beauty industry, what you see in terms, because the beauty industry is it's a different industry in the sense of employment. Beauty industries, you have the owner, then you might have like 2 employees that are employees of the salon, and then you have self-employed within the salons, the ones that rent a chair. So it's a different model that they have. So it's like you have women entrepreneurs within that industry, like several in one space. So that's the beauty industry. So it's usually like 2 or 3 on the books, that work for the beauty salon. And then the restaurant tends to be a little bit more. It can go up to like 5. Sometimes they have 10 employees. And then with the childcare providers, you can see.
It's random, depend on the amount of the childcare, but usually go from 3 to 5, and they can be part-time and full-time.
They can have 2 sites.
Exactly.
2 sites.
And here's what I'm asking, and I conclude this, Chair, is that the community board, there's several different avenues where city agencies, small city council member offices, we determine on budgetary assessments to determine on what areas that we need to focus on besides just ensuring the delivery of the city services that are already existing, where there are gaps at. And we also have a seat on the local bid that we sit as an executive officer on the bid. And my background in economic development, I used to lead. We one of the leaders of SoBro.
I remember so. Yeah.
And some of these organizations are somewhat disappearing, but these businesses are still in need. And we want to make sure that while we're supporting issues like this, that we're encouraging certain businesses to either start here or evolve here. We our chairperson, Lisa. I'm sorry. Tooting your horn a little bit, Mr. Chairman, is that he's a large business owner that has been in business for over decades to ensure that generationally ensures that he provides a certain product of entertainment, party planning, promotion, everything else, marketing for a long time. And that's a business that employs over a period of time a large number of people. And it also employs compelling wages. I'm leading to that in order to talk about affordability as this new administration is really talking about, we need to provide as many compelling wage jobs that people can pay their rent.
I agree.
Which we look at now. Some of these businesses have to operate in homes because it's cost so much for commercial businesses to survive out here. The rent is just too damn high, and your house, and also in the commercial business apartment that's too hard. We also have to make sure you have to take care of the stuff that is to start a business. It's so much for that to happen. So I guess what I'm leaning towards is how more entrenched besides this program are you trying to ensure that these businesses, yes, they have to start somewhere, conception, and then grow up to do the ranks to becoming large. How are they being supported through your work, through the Chamber of Commerce we have here, other organizations to ensure that these businesses have the ability to find a home, be successful. Mainstay restaurants is a very tricky industry. Some fail the first year, and so in this partnership, I just want to make sure that the marriage, even though it may not be always agreeable, and not looking to be adversarial, but to be as supportive as possible in our vision and our dream to ensure that businesses have opportunity to be strong and not just be. Not saying you're doing this, not this marginalized, but able to grow at the right time, because every business you can't push them because they don't survive you that. So I'm just trying to see more besides this opportunity.
Yes.
I know you wish you could have more resources, more money, why not? But how do you want to make sure that businesses, sometimes we don't want to take that push, can be more passionately successful in this? Because I see people start off a small childcare, and I see they're going through chains, and they're huge.
Yeah.
So people start with you doing hair in your living room, and you become Cardi B's hairstylist tomorrow or nails. Those things are all possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, and we want to invest in those opportunities? I just want to hear more of those success stories.
Yes, so we have, this is just one program that we
Sure.
do. Because we have our MWBE program, which is very robust. We're probably, I would say, since we have been doing this work with the City of New York, I think the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce, since the beginning, has remained like that. We are the number one organization when it comes to certifying firms, and especially women of color, because we want to, we focus on that a lot. We're open to everyone, but because in the studies that they have done with the controllers, the New York City controllers, it shows that women of color are always at the bottom when it comes to contracting opportunities. So we try to focus a lot on that, on changing that percentage, right? And then working with them and finding opportunities in the City of New York and the State of New York, but also helping the city create those opportunities, because sometimes they don't see it. And we'll come in and say, okay, who's doing your catering, for instance, right? And they maybe have a major company that is doing their catering, and say, can you break down that contract?
Small part.
Yes. So we have,
napkins,
exactly. So can you unbundle? Can you break it? And we have done that. Also with the prime contractors, when they come in construction, we're trying to push to get more of our people into those projects, and looking at every time there's a project, who do you have working on that project? Who do you have? What local businesses do you have working on those projects? And making sure that there's a list available for them to hire those local businesses the same way that we want them to hire local workforce. That's very, very important. We come in a lot of times to push for that. We're doing that with the Armory right now. Like, who is on, who are you looking at?
You bring it intentional.
Yes, very intentional. Very intentional.
Because we know that, and the last thing I'll say is that we know this administration is talking about, and this has been every administration, revamping the procurement process so that the small mom and pop shops
can come in.
Can come in.
Yes.
And by breaking up the monopoly, and I may be a little confrontational saying this, to ensure that the same big shops don't get the big job. Sometimes we need the big license groups to do the great work that needs to be done, because the city has to still work. You can't sometimes slow it totally to a stop just to make sure folks fit in. But as the city moves, it is organizations like yours to help to prepare these organizations to be understanding procurement, understanding bidding, understanding how the banks need to support some of the frontline seed money to ensure that
very
I'm interested in learning more about how your organization is doing that, especially for us to ensure that folks can be able to have this opportunity. Sometimes the one shot is what you need. So I look forward to meeting with your team and talking more about what that looks like. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I just want to, one of the main gaps that I'm seeing, particularly in our district, is, and I have spoken to these entrepreneurs, and yes, they're women. I saw, for example, the hair salon, which is like you're saying, most of them are women. She had a beautiful salon. She set it up and everything was beautiful. Her lease was up. The landlord went up so high that she had to leave. She started working next door from the barbershop. I'm just giving a small example of things that I see constantly happening. Obviously, she was not really going to be able to work. She lost clientele. She lost, obviously, finances right there. She tried going next door to work at the barbershop. He rented her out a little space, but it was not going to be possible for her to really even bring in the kind of entrepreneurship that she had. When at her salon, she even had a little section for the nails. She was even getting ready to start a little pedicure service, okay? And she was going to bring in a hair. But when she lost that, and there was nothing, I'm trying to figure out, how can we empower the type of negotiations that have to happen with these landlords when it comes to, like you just said, especially, let me put it this way, women of ethnic background, let me put it that way, who seem to always be at the end of the scale when it comes to making these kind of negotiations, okay? I was born and raised right here in this neighborhood. And I remember a point in time, I'm sorry to say, when it was a predominantly European neighborhood, that did not exist. Okay, and they were able to negotiate that with
Yes.
them, and they would give them those prices simply because, oh well, if you live in our neighborhood and you're, you know, there was, I don't know why that negotiate, and the only thing I could think of is there were too many ethnic women, let me put it that way, because like you're saying, African American, Latino women, even Asian women, okay, the Asian women that run like the food stands, you know, the fast food, they always make sure that they work like under a man. I don't see any of them as much work as they do in there owning it themselves. And I know the reason, because I converse with all of them and I talk to them. So I think, I don't want to prolong the meeting too much, but I think that's one of the main gaps that I see happening. It happens with restaurants in our area, okay? Now this other restaurant in the Mott Haven region, this is another issue at hand.
Oh, Judy, I need you to ask a question.
My question is, how do we bridge that gap? I think your organization is wonderful in what it's doing, but there's a main gap that everyone seems to ignore. Okay, how do we bridge that big rent price with these landlords? And what kind of help are you giving, again, especially these women, to help do that?
Well, and yeah, it's a terrible situation when it comes to rent. And I'm hoping that, again, that the new administration is going to be able to look at that, not just residential, but also small business. So what we do have, we have pro bono lawyer. We have a great pro bono lawyer. And what we tell people is always this: before you sign a lease, because once you sign a lease, then, you know, you're done. Before you sign a lease, you have to bring that lease to a lawyer. A lot of times we're very, you know, happy that we got this lease and we just go and sign on the dotted line without having somebody look at it. So all leases, any type of legal agreement, you have to have a lawyer look at it before you sign it. So it has to start there first. And then be able to, with that lawyer, negotiate what you need in that lease, including the years, the terms to renew, all of that. A lot of time, because again, and it's what legal fees are that a lot of times keeps our women, especially women of color, from seeking that help. So what we do is make sure that we have pro bono legal services for them, which we do. And then what we're looking also to be able to do is have accounting services. We're looking at the same thing that you said, there are gaps. We're looking at legal, we're looking at accounting, because that's another thing, how to keep your books to make sure that when you go to the bank, when you go somewhere because you're asking for a loan, that they're going to look at you favorably. So those are areas that we know that they need, and that's something that we're working on providing. We do have the legal, and what we do is also partner with certain accounting firms that will give them a lower, you know, price, that will provide the services at a lower cost to them. So those are the things. And one of the things that we do, that we like to do a lot, the YCD is not allowing me to do with this one, but we'll find the money. We'll find the money, is that we understanding also how important access to capital, having that money, for instance, that extra cash to be able to pay legal fees or accounting, or even just a website and be able to do marketing and be able to set up a store online, that we are always looking for funds to do competitions of our businesses, to have the businesses compete for funds. That's part of the business plan. We do a business plan competition and they present. And so we usually have one winner or three winners, and we go to the banks for that money. So we're hoping to increase that. I was asking the YCD if we could do that, but someone, they said, no, you cannot do that. But we'll find the money to do that, because that's important.
Thank you. Just two things before we break.
Mhm.
You need a letter of support, and I see that you drafted one. So the letter begins with "to whom it may concern," but you need this to be, we just don't do that. We need to
Yeah.
address it to a specific organization, which would be DYCD,
Yeah.
I'm assuming, right?
Mhm.
And then,
It's actually, I have to check this. I think it's to us, but yeah.
no, we can't issue the letter to you. You want
To-
to say, we're in part, oh, I see.
Yeah.
You want Because we're partnering with you.
Yes, with
I got
us,
it, okay.
yes, so it's to us.
And when is, you have a deadline for that?
Well, we have to put it in before, March.
The renewal.
Yeah, the renewal, exactly, so we have to put it in,
Do you have any
as
questions?
soon as we.
Think, no,
No.
Mr. Chairman, so
I think-
it's up to the next, things may switch a little bit, it's new administration, so we're figuring it out.
I know, we're figuring out, but I will be happy to sit down with you and you know,
Sure.
whoever, to talk about the business community, what we can do, because we also like to go out and with a questionnaire and
We do
ask
that with
and
the
all that.
district manager,
Yes,
yeah.
we'd
And
love to
so,
do that.
I don't know if I mentioned before, we don't have quorum, but we're gonna be discussing
Mhm.
this, Ardina and I, in a few minutes, and then I'll bring it up at the executive committee meeting, and we need to take to the full board, and the district manager will reach out to you and give you the decision that was made. You're more than welcome to come. You'll know on Thursday. So when you come on Thursday,
Yes.
you'll know what you got, if there was any
Yeah.
alterations to the letter, if you got it at all, okay? I
Okay,
want to thank everybody for coming.
thank you, thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Great.
Okay, meeting adjourned. I'll give you
I make
some.
a motion that the meeting be
Okay.
adjourned. So, oh, okay, oh, it's already done, okay. It's already said and done. Very good.
Let me just sit where I'll give you a few.